we have? Excellent. We
We
have,
have Keith is here.
yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't see Charlie.
okay. How about Chris Mather?
Um, yeah, I don't see his name, so unless he's calling in on a phone
All
that I
right.
don't recognize.
All right. Anybody who's here, you're automatically muted. So if you need to unmute yourself, uh, please, if you're on the phone, *6. If you're doing this via computer, there's got to be a way to do it. I don't know how to do that.
It's in the bottom
Um,
left.
it's in the bottom left. My trusty assistant tells me. So thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
Um, is Chris Mather here? Charlie Sullivan here? Either one of them? Charlie had called me earlier asking us to send the meeting via email, so I know we sent it back out to him. All right, before we, while he's trying to dial, I had a problem a little bit too, so maybe he's having a problem. I'll read the Governor Baker's announcement. Okay, so pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 30A, paragraph 18, subsection 18, excuse me, and the Governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people who may gather in one place. This meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information, I'm sorry, I misread that. We conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information, general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website or YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Sorry, I mumbled that up. Do we have a quorum yet, Chris?
I don't see. I see Keith still
Charlie
here,
or
but I don't.
Chris?
Yeah, I don't see either of them.
Okay. And you don't have a phone number for Charlie?
No.
Okay. I am going to send a phone number to Victoria
Okay.
and ask her to call Charlie's house to see. I'm going to text it to her. So I'll see if I can do that.
Okay.
Chris, can you just ask Victoria if she received the text, and if you can politely ask her to call Charlie, or if you want to call Charlie.
Yeah, she received it. She's calling in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
I just got a text from Charlie. It says, I am waiting, but it's saying the host hasn't started the meeting, which is odd because I'm on the meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
I had some trouble dialing in myself, but I don't know that one has anything to do with the other. I love Zoom. Folks, just try to be patient. I apologize. Chris, do you have a way that you can send me or send him the dial-in? Maybe he's just got the wrong numbers. Send him a dial-in number with the meeting ID.
Sure.
Ask Victoria to tell him what it is. Maybe she can.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
There's nothing on your end that you need to do to let him in the meeting, right?
No, it's just the same password that it's been for the past meetings. So
No. Okay.
yeah,
I'm wondering how he heard me.
yeah, I'm
But,
not sure
okay.
either.
All right. I'll stand by.
Okay. Hi, Kevin. Charlie's phone just rang, but we weren't able to get through to him.
Did you say you're unable to get through to him?
He didn't pick up the phone.
Hello.
Oh, Charlie.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
hey.
I had the link for the meeting a week ago, and then I got the right one.
Okay.
I'm here.
Excellent. So apparently we have a quorum now.
Okay.
So that's good. So I will officially call this meeting to order. Let the minutes reflect the members that are here. I have already read the governor's notice, so I don't need to read that again. So before we get started, folks, a couple things. We're at a slight disadvantage here on the Freetown Concom side of things. I'm awaiting testing results, so I'm unable to be actually at town hall, so I was unable to get in there to do anything today. Additionally, our new clerk, Victoria, this is her first meeting, and today was her first day of real work. So if some things have not been done yet or something fell through the cracks, just please understand that we're under a little bit of stress here with what we're doing. And we are going to try to move on and in a orderly manner tonight. Just have a little patience, and we will get through as quickly as possible. But just understand that there may be some outstanding items that we're just not going to be able to get through tonight. So with that in mind, first items on our agenda are notice of intents that have requested to be continued. So I will call items 1A through 1E to order. That being said, items 1A through items 1A through 1C, they're requesting a continuation to December 14th. And item 1D and 1E, they're requesting continuations to December 28th. So if I could get a motion to grant those requests for continuances on those aforementioned items.
I'll make that motion, Kevin.
I'll second it.
Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, I'll have to do a roll call vote. It'll be tedious, but we'll get through it tonight. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Chris, we don't have any other Concom members here? No, it doesn't look like. Okay.
Yeah, not that I can see.
Okay. Now, for those that are participating in tonight's meeting, whether you're applicants representative, if you're interested, abutters, if you go to the Freetown website, freetownma.gov, and you go under boards and committees, you will see a little box on the left-hand side. I believe it says conservation materials, meeting materials. It says Conservation Commission current filings. If you click on that, it brings up all the documents that we will be talking about, from the actual applications to plans to peer reviews and the applicant's answers to those peer reviews. So if anybody, interested parties there, you can look at the information at that location on our website. So before we get into the notice of intents, we have a few RDAs that I'd like to take care of first. So we'll hop down to item number 6. That's a request for determination for 4 Cleveland Avenue. That is it's not a notice of intent, so I don't need to call it to order. So that is a application from a gentleman who lives there. It's an after the fact filing. When doing an associated inspection in the area, noticed that like a lot of folks down there on the pond, they want to enjoy the waterfront. So they built themselves a nice little patio and outdoor cooking fire, I think, there. But they had not filed the proper paperwork. So when asked to, they came down within a couple of days, and they did so apologetically. So you can see those plans online if you'd like to take a look at them. But it's relatively simple. It's a 30 by 15 concrete, previously disturbed area. I don't think the applicant can make it tonight, but this is pretty straightforward. So with that,
I'm here, Kevin.
Oh, well, Brandon, how are you? You could have
Good,
spoken
you?
up earlier. I wouldn't have had to make all that presentation, but I didn't think you were going to be able to make it tonight. So, I thank you for filing with us. I know what happens on the waterfront. Sometimes it's we get excited. So I do appreciate you coming down. Was there anything? And again, it's already built, so the need for siltation devices and things like that. When I went out there and looked at, there's no runoff. There's no issue that way. So.
Yeah, and the siltation devices were also in place due to the construction of the house. So.
Right. So at the end of the day, in order to make this a proper, we need to vote on it. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion. We issue a negative determination number 3, that it is work that's within the buffer zone, but will not dredge, alter, or fill an area subject to protection of the act.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
right.
it. I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Oh, I apologize. I got to do roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Okay, it passes. All right. Next on our list would be the request for determination. This is for 28 Huron Ave. This is again for a septic repair. Do we have the applicant or their representative here? This would be DMG Associates? No? All right, well, we'll hold off on that. I believe it's the same applicant or engineer for 36. Shoreline Ave, which is next on our list. Where is 36? That is a septic, I'm sorry, for 36 Shoreline Ave. Is the applicant here for 36 Shoreline Ave? No? Okay. Well, let's go to two certificate of compliances. This is item number 9. 9A is 1 Macomb Way. They're requesting a certificate of compliance, a complete certificate. Macomb Way was probably built 10 years ago. It's been done and dusted. I don't know exactly why they need the COC other than probably just to close out the application. So, and the same holds true for 58 South Main Street. That's for actually Juniors. Juniors has been constructed, well, for a while now. And obviously there are no outstanding issues down there. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion that we use a complete certificate of compliance for both 1 Macomb Way and for 58 South Main Street.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris says aye. Both pass unanimous. Okay, I will move back up to then for a notice of intent, item number 4, 10 Cove Lane. This is for a septic repair. Again, that is going to be what's on our, you have that on the website if you'd like to take a look at it. Is anybody from JC Engineering here?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for
Good
coming and thanks for playing along with us tonight. We'll get through this. So, if I'm understanding correctly, this is a septic repair due to the home sale, and it didn't pass Title V. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
All right.
Do you want me
If
to go through it or do you just grab it yourself?
No, you can go through it. It's just keeping in mind it's difficult. Some of us might not have accessibility to the plans, but just
Do you want me to post it? I could share my screen if that's acceptable.
If you want to share your screen, and Chris, can you make sure that you give him the ability, however that is, to do the screen sharing? Thank you. For those familiar with the area or where Cove Lane is, Charlie and Keith, it's the last house on the left-hand side. It's Mrs. Abbott's old house. It's the Octagon house down there.
Right, I'm aware of it, Kevin.
I kind of figured you might be there, Charlie.
We're
So-
most, fortunately.
It's
If you I'm logged in with my computer. It's called Bradley Bertolo Desktop. If that could be shared.
Yeah, 1 second.
so because where it is, the entire thing is within the buffer zone. So basically anything they do down there.
It should work now.
Yep, good. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so this is, so before we get started, this is a notice of intent. This has not been called to order. So typically, what I do is I ask for a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice. So if I could get that motion right quick.
Motion made.
And seconded.
Thank you. Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion, Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. So we do not need to read the public hearing notice. So this is a public hearing. So if anybody has any questions or comments, we let the applicant make their presentation, and then we'll open it up to the general public or anybody from the board who has any questions. Again, if you dial in on the phone, it's *6 to unmute yourself. And we will go from there. So feel free to make your presentation, sir.
Thank you. Again, my name is Brad Bertolo with JC Engineering on behalf of Barbara Abbott. This property is located at the southern end of Cove Lane, the last house adjacent to the small parking lot. As you can see on the screen, the Octagon house is shaded. It's currently serviced by a septic tank and a long, about 50-foot by 2-foot trench in the location of the cursor. The site is surrounded by salt marsh to the northeast, which is on the opposite side of Cove Lane, paved roadway. A salt marsh on the southeast, as well as a small little coastal bank about 2 or 3 feet in elevation difference. We're proposing to install a 1,500 gallon tank, a 1,000 gallon pump chamber, and a small leaching facility, which is located just greater than 50 feet from the resource areas as mandated by Title V. The nearest work is really the installation of a erosion control barrier, silt fence, and hay bale, as shown on the detail up here. And that wraps around the eastern side of the proposed work to protect any sediment from going into the beach or into the salt marsh and coastal bank. There is a approximately 1.5 foot grade change due to a mounded system. So there'll be about 1.5 feet of fill proposed in the location of the leaching facility. Currently, it's all grass. It's proposed to be grassed. And due to this area being within priority and estimated habitat, although they're exempt from their review, they did submit a letter stating that there'd be no issues with the system in the location proposed. If the board has any, or the commission has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Does anybody from the general public or anybody who's called in have any questions relative to this project? No? Okay, I don't have any specific questions. I just find it interesting that they would comment on something that is exempt from their jurisdiction. But they wanted to make sure that they knew that they didn't take exception to the fact that you need to put a new septic system in. So that's good. All right. It looks like from the plans and everything that that's the best place that you can put it. I mean, so what is it that we're doing with the old system? I'm trying to see. I see the existing tank. That's going to be pumped, crushed, and filled with clean sand. I like that.
Yep. Leaching fields, for the most part, it's a trench, will be
Yeah, I
abandoned,
see that.
and some of it will be removed to allow for the installation of the new system.
Okay. So there's a complete physical disconnect. It's not somebody in the dock at night's going to be able to now use that trench to for anything else. Okay.
No,
Perfect. All right. If that's the case, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion supported. No further discussion. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Keith.
Aye.
And Kevin Grass says aye. Passed unanimously. Okay, guys, this is pretty straightforward for us. It's a septic upgrade that it looks like it's the best case scenario for what we have is a failing system down there. So that being said, I will accept the motion to accept the plans as submitted and approve
I'll
the
make that
plans
motion.
as submitted.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Motion made and supported. There's no further discussion. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Keith Mello.
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Passes unanimously. Brad, just again, it's going to take a little bit of time. These gentlemen have given me authority to sign for them, but I'm not able to get into the office for another day or two.
oh, that's fine.
So,
That's fine.
all right, we'll get this paperwork going as quickly as we can, and we'll get it out to you as soon as we can.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Okay, I'm going to hop to number 3, notice of intent, 41 Water Street. That is a continued notice of intent, so I will call that one back to order. And again, you can see the plans. Is somebody here from 41 Water Street?
Hi, John D'Souza from North County Group.
Hi, John. So just to quickly familiarize everybody with this project or with the project location, it's located, it's the last house or last lot, if you will, on Water Street as you're heading towards Pleasant. So we had sent this out for peer review. It's gone back and forth. John, in fairness to you, I just want to let you know that we received a letter late this afternoon, and I don't know if you've received it. We will be more than happy to forward it to you, relative to some of the concerns of an abutter. And it echoes, obviously, some of the concerns that we have through our peer review. So I just wanted to let you know that we'd received that. So, John, if you would, and you would like to make a presentation, go ahead, sir.
Sure. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, just tell Chris, let him share the screen, buddy.
Sure, 1 second.
Sure.
Which profile should I be making?
The one that my face is on. I had to call in because the internet here, I don't know, it's kind of flawed a little bit, so it goes in and out. So I had to call in so you could hear me, but my screen is on the other one that my other face is on.
Okay. Just a question. Do we have anybody from Environmental Partners Group here?
It's Adam Cran with Environmental Partners.
Hey, Adam, thanks, man.
No problem.
All right. So, John, before you get started, we met out there. Obviously, there were some immediate concerns that you had in your initial filing of the wall. We met out there, and I think I tried to give you some guidance relative to repairing the wall in a manner that would be suitable, I think, to affect the emergency repair. But there are still a lot of outstanding items and issues. If you look at our peer review and if you look at what the letter from the lawyer has to say. So I'm hoping, John, that you're going to either be able to address some of these tonight, or we're going to make a promise to continue to work with our team to make sure that the project can meet the standards of the River Protection Act, because there's some certain standards in there that I think are just falling a little short. But so go ahead and make your presentation, John.
Right. Let me share the screen and. All right, I have the screen up. You should be able to see it. I have my plan, and right now the site basically was just an overgrown and overburdened the site that had a lot of debris that was stockpiled over the years. And it just basically laid there, not being utilized by any residential means that I could see for a long time. There's a concrete structure that's basically partly opened on the back side of the lot. Also up on the front, there's a shed, and there's also an old some old debris and everything that's out there. The concrete wall that is surrounding basically most of the eastern property line wraps around the south and about halfway up on the westerly portion of the lot. That wall was basically poured over a old fieldstone foundation. There's a couple of breaches. One is in the southeast corner that has gotten larger in the past few months. And along the whole southern edge of the wall on the upland side, it is caving in. There's actually holes that if you step, you'll go right through, and you can injure yourself on that point. Also on the southwest corner, there's an old, looks like a boat hoist that has to be removed. It's actually decambered right now over the water leaning in, and it looks like it will fall, but I'm sure I'll look like that for a real long time. But that breach over there has gotten as larger as well. The whole concrete wall has gotten worse and worse. And in the past few months, there's actually a couple of spots where the camber is, I want to say, at least 10 degrees from vertical right now. So my client is looking to rebuild that wall. And the way that he wants to rebuild the wall, he's going to rebuild it from the upland side. So he's not going into the water for the construction of this. He is going to be working between low tide, and it'll only be for a few hours every day, because at low tide, the tide is lower than the field stone, the foundation of the old wall. So as he removes a portion of the old wall, he will be setting new crushed stone in between the voids of the field stone, and basically rebuild the foundation from the field stone. So he is not going to do any work inside the waterway at all. So as he builds the new foundation, he'll be placing the new concrete blocks onto the wall. And that's how we intend to rebuild that. We're going to be overseeing the construction. So we're going to be out there basically every day while it's under construction to make sure that it's being built according to the plan, and that no disturbance happens outside the footprint of the lot. Now, my client also wants to add his residential home there, which we have shown, and it's up on the plan. The house is going to be sitting in front of the concrete structure. The concrete structure that's there is going to be turned into an outdoor patio area because the top of that is basically where the floor of the elevation of the new house will be. Just in front of that, he wants to do a storage / barn area up on the northeast corner of the lot. One other thing that we spoke about is we have shown like a boat ramp next to that the barn that is actually coming out. That is not being proposed anymore. So that's going to be on the revised plans to get back to your office. On the bottom of the house, he's going to have a garage. So he's going to have the open doors, and then in between the garage, the doors there, we're going to have basically breakaway walls. Actually, they're vented louvers that allow for the free flow of the water to come and go, because the elevation of that will be underneath the flood elevation for that area. So we have looked at that to incorporate that as well. There is no work to be done outside of the wall space at all. And the grading that's going to happen on the lot is going to be very minimal, just to reshape the lot. As far as trees, there are a couple of clumps of trees on the lot here and there. He will try to preserve as many as he possibly can. But this lot was created prior to 1996, and it was fully disturbed all the way up to the edge of the seawall. So the amount of disturbance allowed under the Rivers Act is to the limit that was previously disturbed, which is the edge of the wall. He is going to clean it up and bring it so it looks like a natural lot with a house on it, and he just wants to be a good neighbor with everybody. So I don't know if the board has any questions as far as the type of the construction, or if you want me to go over the construction portion, I will more than glad to do so as well.
So, John, I appreciate the presentation. It was detailed relative to how you're going to do it. I think the problem with us that we have on our end is giving you permission to do it. And so the question that should be asked and answered is, are you allowed to do it? Does the actual law allow you to do the amount of disturbance? Granted, it's previously disturbed, we understand that, but there are certain provisions within the Wetlands Protection Act that have certain requirements relative to the amount the amount of disturbed area that you can add on to, if you will, right? So I know within our peer review, and Adam, if you want to speak briefly on that too, we just received this letter from this lawyer relative to this project. So I don't even think the other board members have it. They may have it, but and I know you don't either, Adam. But basically, it speaks specifically to the redevelopment within a previously developed riverfront area. It goes on to point out that you and Scott Turner from your office have noted some shortcomings and some outstanding items. And if you want to briefly just point those out, where it doesn't quite meet the standard within the Rivers Protection Act.
Sure. So I guess specifically to that, I would need to double check that specific instance, but typically it's redevelopments are typically related to impervious area, and it appears as though there's an increase in impervious area.
Correct.
So yeah, that would be one concern. On the other hand, it seems as though the previous speaker had identified a number of changes that will be reflected on a future plan set that may address some of our concerns relative to how the wall would be constructed and attempts to minimize disturbance to basically areas where they're not constructing a house or a driveway.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it was a good on-site a couple of weeks ago when I met up there, and I think was able to better express some of the concerns that I think you folks had, I think the Conservation Commission had, abutters had, and yes, there are changes to that plan, I think, that reflect that. But I think specifically, and we're not going to move on this tonight. There are too many outstanding items, obviously, with changes in the plans. I think everybody realizes that. But I think specifically, I think John and Adam, to a certain degree, is given this letter that's been drafted by this lawyer for an abutter. It has a lot of good information in there that I think is relative to this. And so I would say before, John, you come back, you're going to need to at least have satisfactory answers for environmental partners on some of these outstanding items. You know, Freetown Conservation Commission is not in the habit of knowingly approving or denying something that would be just ripe for an appeal. And so we don't purposely do things like that. And I don't want to set anybody up for failure, and I don't want to cause anybody any angst either. So, in fairness, I think it's a rather aggressive plan. I think the other board members can look at it and see, you know, you're going from a single structure there. That was why my surprise that you weren't using that existing structure for the actual location. I think the permitting would have been easier at that point in time, given the previous disturbance and all. But again, you're doing what your client wants you to do. But in that, I think it opens up a few more issues there that are going to need to be adequately addressed. So,
excuse me, Mr. Chairman. This is, excuse me,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman. This is Mike O'Neill. I'm the lawyer that you were
Oh, I'm
referring to.
sorry,
I wrote the
Mr.
letter.
O'Neill. If I would have known you were here, I would have used your name. I didn't know.
That's
If you
okay.
cared for me.
No,
How,
no problem.
How are you, sir? It's been a
I'm
while.
just fine.
since we
How are
talked.
you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, well, I just want to say that I represent the people who, Lori Riley and Jeffrey Medeiros, who are the abutters at 39 Water Street. And they do not object to the house and the patio. What they do object to is the garage and barn. They also objected to the boat ramp, and we're pleased to see that that is going away. But we echo your comments and the comments of Mr. Krantz. This project, basic problem is that it's an increase in size. It's a larger project, not a smaller project. Don't have any alternatives analysis for saying why there needs to be like a large garage barn in that location. And among the we're talking about providing further details. I think one of the details that we need to flesh out is the extent to which the property is going to be raised. We're going to be bringing in fill to raise the elevation. Okay, so in summary, we contend that the project is too large. It doesn't meet the alternatives analysis. It doesn't meet the requirements of the Rivers Protection.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anything else, Mr. O'Neill?
Well, a couple of fine points. One is that the Rivers Protection Act is strictly discretionary. It's not a matter, it's not something that a party is entitled to, even if they meet all the requirements. Another thing is that the previously developed area is previously developed before 1996. And judging from some of the pictures, it seems to me that a lot of the disturbance is recent. It doesn't qualify as recently developed.
Right. Okay, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I'm glad we got the letter just in time for the meeting tonight, and I'm glad you were here to articulate your client's points. So, John, you've obviously heard some of the concerns. I think I was upfront with you on that site walk and told you that there were going to be concerns, not only from our side, but from abutters too. Excuse me. So, is there anything else you want to add tonight, or John, are you want to go back to the drawing board, obviously, and start looking at some of these outstanding issues?
Yeah, I mean, we know that there's a few outstanding issues, but I mean, like, I really can't make any comments to Attorney O'Neill's letter. I don't have it, so
and I'm not asking you to comment on it, John. I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying not to dismiss you and say, okay, work harder on this. I'm trying to get all of us to agree that, okay, there's excuse me, outstanding items. I'll make sure that we forward that to you. So we'll get that letter to you in the next couple of days so you can see it. But I'm pretty sure it echoes what Environmental Partners Group has already stated to you on it. And in fairness to both of them, or even Attorney O'Neill for that matter, and the abutters, they haven't seen the revised plans either. So, excuse me, again, I think if we all just politely agree to continue to work on this, if that's what your applicant wants you to do, and do it so that we can feel comfortable moving forward on the application.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with that at all. I mean, the whole thing with these projects is, you hear everybody's intake, and then you move in a manner that hopefully will resolve or come to terms with everybody involved, and then everybody is kind of happy. And then once that happens, then the project can move forward, and maybe there'll be happy neighbors.
Right, John. I appreciate that sentiment. Again, I know things have been wonky the last couple of months with our meetings, and it's not been easy. We just appreciate everybody's patience. We're managing to get through this like everybody else. So, if there's nothing else to be said, do you think that you will have enough time between now and say December 14th, or do you need till December 28th?
Let's go to the 28th, so that way it gives us ample time to review and respond to the comments. And
All right,
then
thank you,
it'll
Jim.
also give everybody time to review our responses as well.
You got it. I appreciate that. Is there any other abutters here that would like to make any sort of statements or questions tonight? No? Okay, that being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 41 Water Street, construction of a single-family dwelling with associated barn and associated grading to December 28th, 5 PM. It will be via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made, supported. There's no further discussion. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
All right. Yeah, next on our agenda, 16.5 Graham Dean Road. So that'll be number 5 item. This is a continued notice of intent, public hearing. So I will call that public hearing back to order. Is there somebody here for 16.5 Graham Dean Road?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Rick Sharon,
Hi, Rick.
good evening.
How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. I think we've got everything together tonight. We had asked to delay this the last time it came up, partly because we didn't have anything back yet from NHESP. So Natural Heritage has responded, so we've got that. We're ready to go forward.
Okay. Rick, this is a site that none of us has been out to. I shouldn't say, I was out there a long time ago. Many moons ago. So I think, given the unfamiliarity with the site and not having environmental partners group do anything with this, we're probably going to have to get some eyes on the ground at some point in time. So I would say we're going to let you make your presentation, right? And then probably go from there out to take a look at it, and then we can probably vote on it at a subsequent meeting, okay?
All right.
Perfect. So do you need to share your screen, or is it just something that we can?
I'm sorry, I don't have the skill set for that.
Hey, listen, neither do I, my friend. So nothing to be sorry about.
All right,
There's a whole-
I'll try to figure something out between now and the next meeting. One of the things is, I don't work on my
we have the
computer. I've
ability-
got a separate
we have
laptop.
it on our website, so
Okay.
people can look at it that way.
All right, if you take, we submitted 2 plans. L1 is the overall lot. This is almost 13 acres, so it's a large lot.
Yep.
And runs in off of Graham Dean Road. And they've got the little, it's actually shown as a cul-de-sac, but really it's just a driveway that runs down through. 2005, 2006, this property came before you. The prior owner was Alan Mora. And he received an order of conditions back in 2005, I believe, to construct a crossing. If you come in on the first plan we have, L1, if you look on that plan, you'll see when you come in beyond the property line with the cul-de-sac, at least where the line is for a cul-de-sac, there's really no cul-de-sac there. It crosses over a perennial stream, and there was a box culvert that was constructed there years ago, all permitted. So that was all done roughly 2005, and I believe a certificate of compliance was granted for that work and the overall driveway improvements coming down towards the home site around 2008 that received the certificate of compliance. So we have taken the plans that were done at that time, Brand Hayworth's plans were used at that time, and we've replicated that with a couple of checks on it in the field. But what you see crossing the perennial stream is coming forward, being carried forward from the 2005 notice of intent filing, right, and order of conditions. When we get beyond that, you get down towards the end of the property where the home site is, and you got a number of environmental resource areas down here. We've got, first of all, the marsh along the Assonet Bay. The marsh comes in to a little bit of BVW along the edge of the shoreline. The 100-foot buffer zone is projected off of that flagged BVW, and you'll see the flags running. A couple of different flag lines. There's an A line, A1 through A4, which runs around a little pond, a little existing pond on the west side of the property. There's also a B line that runs B1 through B6. And that's kind of parallel with the shoreline, just again, a little bordering wetlands along the edge of the coastal marsh. We've also got another interior wetlands line that runs from the W flag line, W1 through W10. There's a little bit of BVW in that area. The 100-foot buffer zone is basically coming off of all those three different flag lines. You'll see that the test pits were done years ago also, and they were marked, as is Freetown's habit, they were marked with PVC pipes back then, so pretty easy to relocate them. We also were able to get a good fix on water table using those. We're proposing in here a little different septic design than what came forward back in 2005 and 6. So there was a plan approved back then for a standard stone pipe leaching field. What we're proposing here is this is a Presby system, and Presby system does a couple of things for us. It basically just gives us better treatment, but it also allows us a reduction in the size of the leaching field. So if you have the second plan, the SD1 plan, that actually shows the detail right around the house with the septic system in it. We've got a 2-compartment septic tank feeding into the Presby system. There's some fairly high water table here. You'll notice in the soil logs that the water table's at 36 inches, 36 to 40 inches on the 2 test holes, and that's been verified. That water table is requiring us to raise up the grade. So you'll see that the finished grades come to about elevation 14 above the leaching field, a little above 14, and just about 15 at the house. Existing grades are about 11 in that area. So we're looking at 3 to 4 feet of fill for the leaching field. Now this site is also in a flood zone. It's in a AE with an base flood elevation of 14 feet. You see that we're raising this property up to 14 and 15 because of the septic system in order to get the groundwater separation. So what we've proposed to the owners is to raise up the entire house to that elevation, and then once we have an order of conditions, we'll be able to proceed to FEMA and request a conditional letter of map revision based on fill. So that's the CLOMA F. I don't know if you've seen any of those come forward, but it allows you to get FEMA to come in and agree that the house built at this elevation at 15 feet is above flood elevation being at 14. So basically we're adding fill in order to raise the house up so that it actually can be taken out of the flood zone. Long-term, this means these people can save a tremendous amount of money on flood insurance by doing this. So it's worth the extra time that it takes. It takes about 3 months usually to get a CLOMA F approved. And that's, when I say CLOMA, the C in there stands for conditional. So it's a conditional letter. Once the house is in place and we turn in as-built plans, we pay another fee to FEMA, and basically there's a couple of $500 fees involved here. But at the end of the process, we would get an actual a letter of map revision based on fill. So initially we get a CLOMA, the conditional letter, and then eventually get the final letter of map revision, and that then allows the insurance company to consider this house as not being in the flood zone. So clearly there's a big savings in flood insurance over the years. That's the basic proposals. What we're trying to do with the house is raise up the house and leaching field. You see the contours around the house and leaching field, all inside of the siltation control, being raised up 3 to 4 feet. It does kind of taper out as we go towards the circular driveway in front of the house. It's tapering down slowly on that point, but around the back sides, the sides and the rear of the house, it would be dropping down. I believe that's a 1 in 3 slope. All right, so something can still be covered with grass and vegetated, and you can still mow something at 1 in 3 without falling over. So that's essentially what's proposed with the house. There's a new well that was installed out there. There was an old well that's been abandoned. New one was put in. There's a little bit of work to do on the driveway, but I think a lot of that actually falls, well, about half of it falls inside the buffer zone. The other half is outside the buffer zone. The leaching field is completely out of the buffer zone, so you have over 100-foot setback there. Septic tank also, and probably 2/3 of the house would also be outside the buffer zone. But That's essentially what the proposal is. And at this point, again, I know you haven't seen the site, but again, if you have some questions about it, I'll be happy to answer them now.
So, Rick, just to go back to the beginning of your presentation, the culvert was already installed, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So the existing crossing work is done and dusted. And at this point in time, all we're concerned with now is the permitting of, so the construction of the home and everything within the limit of work, right? So
That's correct.
there's an existing 6-inch pipe that's already installed. That's not something you're looking to mess with. And the existing traveled way, that's not anything that you're not doing anything with that work, right?
No, in fact, I think we've, when you get into the limit of work line, it's marked as LOW. It's kind of a dash dot line. That you'll see that the area that we're working on, the driveway, is actually shaded. The areas that are going to be revised. All right.
Got it.
But that's all within that limit of work.
All right. So I know I'd like to get out there just again, as you pointed out, there are myriad wetland types and locations within this site. It has garnered some interest by some abutters asking questions, obviously. So at the end of the day, I know I would feel a bit more comfortable if at least at some point in time I could get eyes on it. And I would encourage the board members, I know we're under the restrictions with the COVID and all, but there's an easily walked, traveled way, I'm imagining, to get down to the site. You all have a copy of the plans. You can either print it up if you want. We'll print one up for you, and just take a walk down there if you want to, just to take a look at it, just so we're a little bit more comfortable on what we're talking about. So,
Kevin, let me just add, there is a there is a chain that goes across the driveway, so you really can't drive down there without informing the owner ahead of time. And they could make provision if they knew there was a particular time when people wanted to go there. They could unlock that so they could have access to drive down. You can drive down to the home site.
Where's that gate located? At the end of the cul-de-sac?
It's yes, that's right, before the stream crossing.
Okay, well.
So it's a good hike in from there.
Well, I mean,
no,
it's not.
It's a quarter mile.
It's about 500. It's about, yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's
all right.
I would. So if we need to, we can contact the owner and they would go down there and open up the gate for us if we wanted to drive. But other than that, we can walk past the gate and get down, right, Rick?
That's correct.
Excellent. Okay. Are there any abutters to this project that have any questions, comments, or concerns? Nope. Okay. Well, Rick, I'm thinking. Hello.
Hi, this is Deb Gerke. I'm one of the owners. I just wanted to reiterate what Rick said, that if somebody did need to drive down, they could just contact me. I can give you my phone number if you don't have it, and try to unlock the chain for them.
Okay. Let me see if we have your phone number here.
We do have the 617-909-1908
Yeah, I got
number,
that
Deb.
one. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. We have that phone number. So if need be, if we can't walk down or whatever the case may be, we'll reach out to you, Deb, and try to make arrangements. So I can't imagine, unless something goes completely sideways, right, that you'll be available for the 14th? Rick, that's our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if anybody, if there's no one else with any questions, the board members have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 16.5 Grampian Road to the 14th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Okay. This has been continued to the 14th, 5 o'clock via Zoom. And thanks again, Deb. If we need to, we will reach out to you to make arrangements to get in there.
You're welcome.
All right. So do we have anybody here for the RDAs for 28 Huron Ave and 36 Huron Ave?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Good night now.
Oh, good night. Sorry, Rick. If not, we'll put those off to the 14th then. There's some questions I have looking at the plans and their proximity. I just, and how they're gonna do the work. There's some retaining walls I think that's gonna be done. I'd feel more comfortable if we had the applicant here. All right, so that would bring us to the last major thing on our agenda. This is for notice of intent for Zero Chase Road Solar. I will call this one back to order. This is for a proposed solar array. I guess what you could call phase 2, maybe, to the existing solar array that was built on the D. Moranville property, the corner of Marie's Way and Chase Road. This one might take a little bit of time, so that's why I kind of held off till the end, try to get some of the quicker things done. So that being said, I've called it back to order. Do we have the applicant here? Do we have the applicant's representative here? Hey, Adam, are you there?
I'm here. It looks like Azu may be on this call, so I suspect they are here.
Okay. Well, I'll give him a couple seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
This is
Hey,
the screen changed on me. I have been having a power flickering back and forth.
oh yeah, you too, huh? Okay.
So
All right, so Azu, I've just called the public hearing back to order for the proposed solar array. I know
sir.
that this was going back and forth between peer review and at the end of the day, if there are specific things that we need to address, let's just keep it to those. If there are things that everybody's agreed on and is good, then we're good to go with that. And so let's just try, if there are any outstanding items, we'll try to work on those. Okay, Azu?
thank you, sir.
Sure.
I'm not sure if I can share any files, if anybody needs to see anything there. While listening to your previous meeting, I tend to be a little bit of a challenge technologically of sharing files, but if I'm gonna try to do that, if you need me to.
If you have the ability and you're comfortable and it can be done in a timely manner rather than, if it's gonna something that's gonna jam you up for a while, I'd rather not do that if you've got power problems already.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't know if anybody in the audience need to take a look at the plans or not.
We have the ability on our website to pull up specific things, so we can look up if we have to.
Okay.
Chris, give him the ability to share the screen if you'd like to. So feel free to make your presentation, Izzy.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for the opportunity to reconvene this meeting. As you are aware, we have designed this project. You are correct, Mr. Chairman, in possibly characterizing this as a continuation, if you will, of what we call phase 1. That's why we're calling this one here Freetown Solar 2. This has gone through a couple of reviews. It went through a first review, a second review, and I believe this is the third review. Some of the comments are in order. They have closed out some of their prior comments. What I have a concern that I need to express both to the Conservation Commission and to the Planning Board. We do not have any problem addressing what I believe are good comments, if you will, that are germane to reviewing and approving a project. But what I'm concerned with is that when the review is done, there are specific items that are called out in that review. And then you address those. If they are not sufficiently addressed, perhaps additional comment can be made. And if those additional comments are warranted, then we need to address them. But what I have a problem with, or we have a problem with, is that when we have addressed at least what we believe sufficient response to previous comments, and then we get a third review comment that expands comments that are not originally cited. I believe you get a bite on an apple, but getting 2 or 3 bites, what I'm concerned with is I don't want to go on a wild goose chase that doesn't end, and my client or our client is spending an inordinate amount of funds for reviews. So I think if there are comments that have been made, then whether it was an oversight or in a prior review, I don't think it's useful or reasonable to provide a response to review comments and then making comments to those review responses, but then expanding the comments. That's our concern. Our client has paid upwards of $8,800 for reviews. And that is what we are concerned with, that we don't want to have expensive reviews that don't seem to have, can engender additional reviews. Now, I give you a couple of items.
Yeah, before you go any further, Azu, I gave you a little bit of latitude. I've had a private conversation with you, like I do with a lot of applicants.
Yeah.
And then that you expressed some of your concerns about this. I think I hear what you're saying. Not going to allow you to go down that path anymore.
Okay.
You've got your concerns. You've stated them. You've done your job for your applicant. You've laid out your case. So what I'd like to do, because you know how the town feels about Environmental Partners Group and the job that they do. They've always done what we've asked them to do. So I don't want to let engineering professional disagreements permeate the Freetown Conservation Commission meeting. Okay. So
okay.
What we're going to do is, if there are outstanding items that you feel you can't address or that you can't meet, and you're looking for exceptions under our rules, then that's fine, and we can do that.
Okay.
But we're gonna keep everything to project related now. Okay.
Okay. Well, no, it's all project related, and I just I respect that, and I say no more. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay. The example, I don't know if Chris is able to pull up the review comments that are from, because remember now, these comments or reviews tied together both conservation and planning board. And I also, not to go back and rehash that, Mr. Chairman, I will echo your comment. I don't doubt the professionalism of environmental partners. I believe they're a top-notch company, but I am representing the interest of my client. And I just want to make that clear, that it's nothing personal. All right, so I have the review comments of number 3, the number 3 review comments dated November 9th, 2020. The first item that they saying that remains open, I believe there were, okay, actually they said it's closed. It's number, okay, the comment number the review comment relating to riverfront area. I believe that our response is adequate. We believe that we have done our sufficient analysis for the work that we're doing in the riverfront area. And I don't believe.
Azu, could you tell us what number item that is? We're looking at.
I believe it's number 6.
Number 6. Okay, so
Yes,
you
sir.
take no exceptions to items 1 through 5. We're good on that.
Because they said those are closed.
Items closed,
unless
you're
I'm-
correct. So
Yeah.
I just want to be clear so everybody understands that they're not being ignored. The items
Yeah.
have been closed. So
Yes, sir.
we're on item number 6. Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, could he say the page also, because I think there's a number of different.
You're absolutely correct. So this would be on page 4 of 17, Charlie.
All right. So, okay, I got it then. Okay,
Yep.
I'm right one.
Good point. Thank you. All right, Azu. So,
Yeah, so I believe that the alternative analysis that we have done with the potential cost items and impact of the project relative to other alternatives that can be placed on the property are satisfactory.
so again, this is a professional disagreement. They're saying that you should try to minimize the impacts within the buffer zone or the 200-foot area. You're saying, hey, Concom usually asks for 25 feet. We're giving 35 feet. And that you believe that is enough to meet the burden of a limit of the area. Is that correct?
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm sorry.
correct.
Yeah.
And some of the work that we are well below the threshold allowed in the riverfront, 5,000 square feet, or about 10% of riverfront area, whichever is greater. We've also taken we've made significant effort in reducing the amount of work in the riverfront area. So we are well within the thresholds that are allowed. And I don't think there's any more need to do yet additional analysis or reduction in the project.
Okay. So now it's up to us to make, a decision based on that. Okay. What's the next item?
The next item relates to on page number 5, item number 2. All plans and maps shall be prepared, stamped, and signed by a professional engineer.
Azu, that's for zoning bylaws. That's not Concom. We're
Okay.
not dealing with, all right,
Okay.
just the conservation stuff. So it looks like you
Okay.
got through the first 7 with just that one.
Yeah.
And it would appear that the next items would be, I believe, on page 8, stormwater management.
Okay.
Those 2 items look like they were closed. And it looks like that 3rd item was closed, that number 4 was closed, number 5 was closed, 6 was closed, 7's closed, 8. It looks like number 9, relative to standard 8, there may be some outstanding issues.
Yeah. Okay.
And that seems to be the only one. So
Okay. Relating to that, if you look at yes, relating to that, I would not ordinarily agree, but if you look at also in the DEP comments, albeit the scope of work has been significantly reduced. However, the DEP in its regulations, right, does give you a box to check off that says yeah, you are aware that you're gonna prepare this, but you have the option of submitting that before work starts. Number one, the DEP in issuing a file number, a notice of file number, did indicate something about the water quality certification. My practice has always been when there are other permits that are necessary, that I will prepare a plan before work starts, submit that to reflect any conditions of approval, that I need to have specific items to address those conditions of approval. So when DEP gives you that option to submit that information prior to start of construction, I don't see the reason why I could not exercise that option.
Okay. So what you're asking is, and usually this is stuff that's done on the planning board side of things. Usually what happens is the planning board does the approval because that's an even greater hurdle to go over, because not only do you have wetlands and stormwater, you still have all the other dynamics of their bylaws and regulations.
Yep.
And oftentimes, as a condition, either prior to issuance of a building permit or whatever milestone it is, that conditions are met with those. So it's not atypical, but it's also important that EPG pointed it out. It's not that it can't be done. It's just oftentimes it's not. And DEP, you're right to that extent. You have the ability to stave off the necessity of that or the immediacy of that requirement, but ultimately it needs to be met. So if I'm looking at just for Conservation Commission purposes, if I'm looking at the two things that are the most important, we had the item which was on page that you talked about, that you are limiting the amount of work within the riverfront area. EPG says you could do a little bit more. Well, here we are. This is what we want to do. And then the last item relative to the filing of an O&M plan and all. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
And
So,
there's another item that may relate to conservation.
Mhm.
And that item relates to peak rate of runoff. If you look at the stormwater, typically what you are looking at is protecting downstream areas, protecting abutting land uses. The calculation shows that, yes, there's an increase in rate of runoff, but it's contained within the site. So I'm not affecting anybody else. It's a theoretical increase that is contained within the site. And if you look at my peak elevation, it says that I don't even go over the berm. So it doesn't matter if my rate of runoff is higher. It's contained within the site. I am not flooding out anybody. I'm not causing erosion to somebody else. So my analysis, therefore, is satisfactory. That's one component. That also has to do with conservation as well as the planning board. But that's what I want to look at, and not just grab a number and say, well, there's a slight increase. Yeah, but it's contained within the site. I'm not affecting it.
All right. Okay, so that's important. And if in your opinion, that's something that might change your conservation filing, then, but since you brought it up, Adam, are you still there, buddy?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So just specifically about that one item relative to, because my overly simplistic view of how I explain stormwater management is that they can't increase the rate, the volume, the velocity, and they have to take care of the cleanliness of it, right? To overstate to simply overstate.
That is, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So in this instance, and I don't know the intricacies of it, but it would seem that the applicant is making a reasonable point that the rate, while it may increase a bit, it's increasing within his own property or their own property and will not have an adverse effect on the wetlands and or abutters. What's your feeling on it?
All right, so I think for this particular location that he's referring to, the increase is relatively small, first of all. It is not compliant, but it is a small, relatively small difference. But I think it does, I mean, it does ultimately contribute. I believe it would run off towards the brook in the middle of the site. And my understanding is that we're referring to design point 8, which is the southern solar panel array, I think 3 area. And it would run off from there, would go north towards the brook. So, you know, anywhere that the brook, either upstream or downstream of the brook, there could be minor impacts from that. But I would also caution that some of the other comments that we made may be of, may affect that. Like we don't, I think we had a couple other comments in the news section where there were questions about mounding and basin, like what exactly is in the for soils at each location. That may actually affect the calculations a little bit.
All right, what I don't want to do, and I explained it to Azu earlier, and I'll, obviously we've dealt with you a lot too, and we'll, you know, what I don't want to do is get into engineering philosophical conversations or philosophies, if you will, right? So if something works, it works, and someone's going to put a stamp on it. I don't mind if it's pointed out that, yeah, we might do something differently, but it meets the criteria. So what I'm looking for is something, does this meet the criteria? You know, if I challenge this afterwards, would Azu be able to stand there and say, absolutely, I meet all the requirements? Or is there enough wiggle room and or room for professional disagreement here to say that, yes, we may not agree on the means and methods, but the outcome is the same, if not the differences are de minimis?
It might be possible to argue that the differences are small, but I would need to really dig into the calculations and confirm this statement that it's all contained on site and see how that was specifically calculated.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And CONCOM members, in the interest of cooperation, just so that I think I want to make sure and be clear that I'm not trying to be a difficult person. I'm just looking out for the interest of my client, and I have a professional obligation to my client, and I've done numerous solar site projects, residential subdivisions, and I actually included a picture, a photograph documenting the existing site that we did next to this one here. That one has been in operation now for more than 4 years. We haven't had any flooding problems. We haven't had any issues. Now, one of the comments that was made relative to was ground cover. So that is probably what Adam, I can tell you, because I read through their comments and I know my plans. I can close my eyes and point out stuff on my plans. Now, the comment that they made was the type of ground cover. Now, we used a fair condition versus good condition. Well, the reason we use fair condition is that we are looking at the meadow where the grass is being eaten by cows that are there. When we put the new sod and new vegetation, well, that will become properly maintained. Therefore, the classification as good condition, it's appropriate. Now, the photograph that I documented, remember now, this project, because of COVID-19, spans over 11 months now. But the picture that I took, that could be misconstrued as, well, it's not our grass in good condition, is the fact that that was taken in the winter months. But the primary purpose of documenting that photograph is to demonstrate that the panels do not cover the ground. They are not occupying like a building will do. Therefore, the term that we use in doing our analysis, time of concentration, will not be affected at all by the panels, albeit in the volume calculation for recharge purposes, we treated the panels as impervious. But in terms of runoff analysis, the ground cover is still grass. And that was the purpose of including that photograph. So we stand by the fact that when the project is built, the grass will be in good condition. The other item that they alluded to was that we included the wetlands area as the overall site area. Well, if I included the wetlands area, it's a wash. So, and I think that needs to be considered in that vein. But in the interest of being cooperative, I would be willing and happy to provide specific responses to those items, so that, and then I want to also have the opportunity to speak with the planning board tomorrow. But those items that are remaining open, some of the items that are remaining open, that if the planning board will consider those, that those can be considered as part of conditions of approval, then it will be a little easier and more efficient to provide a response that is a little bit more comprehensive and conclusive. So if we're going to have, because I really would like to have the planning board and the Conservation Commission reviewing and approving the same set of plans. I don't believe that I need to change my plans, but I would like to have that opportunity, because I believe we have a hearing tomorrow night with the planning board. I would like to present the items that are up to the board in terms of, okay, you can provide this information as you file for your building permit, because a lot of those items, you're not going to get a building permit if you don't provide them, okay? And for example, like insurance. Well, somebody's not going to be insuring the site until they actually have approval. So it's the catch-22, chicken or the egg, which one comes first? So to that point, what you have to understand is oftentimes I've found that our rules and regulations, like a lot of towns, they ask for the moon, hoping to get everything up front and just this one neat, tidy package. And to your point, there are often times that you don't know who the developer is going to be. You don't know who some of these end users are going to be. So you can't physically, or just you can't accomplish that goal. So we oftentimes waive those things. So I do agree with you that you're probably better off approaching the planning board to get relief from most, if not all, of those things associated with our regulations, right? Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, you've got a couple of professional disagreements on the Concom side of things that, I think we can, once you finalize everything with planning board, we can make a final decision on. None of them seem earth-shattering. None of them seem like we'd be going out on a limb either way. But to your point, if the planning board, again, a more rigorous filing, if you're caused to make some changes to the plan, or you agree to do some different things, then let's just approve one set of plans and remove that confusion.
Yep.
So,
along that vein, Mr. Chairman, I don't wish to hold up everyone. If there are specific comments from Adam or questions from the board, I will be glad to entertain those. Barring those, I would ask that we continue the hearing a future date in December so that I can at least have the benefit of reviewing some of these items with the planning board and perhaps getting an action from the planning board on those items that require a waiver.
Sure. So our next meetings, Azu, are the 14th and the 28th of December. That's, excuse me, conservation.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you like us to continue? We'll continue to the 14th, and if you're ready, we'd be more than happy to have you. If not, then, you know, we'll continue to the 28th.
If the planning board gives me the favorable, which I'm praying for, then I should be able to turn around before the end of this week, ship everything to the commission, to the planning board, and to environmental partners. However, it would also require a certain level of cooperation from environmental partners. If they're not going to be able to review it, and then here come the 14th, we don't have a review by then that, so I guess, yeah, let's continue to the 14th of December.
Okay.
And if I'm hoping that will all be resolved by then. If not, then we'll go to the 28th. So I will take the December 14th date, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. Anybody else from the board have any questions, comments, or concerns before we continue this? Adam, is there anything outstanding that needs to be addressed now? Or if not, then feel free to just reach out via email to our office, and that way we can address it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can either, yeah, I guess there's a number of ways we could handle this. I mean, one option could be that if it would be beneficial, maybe we could offer to have a call with Azu on the side and try to resolve a lot of these things. I understand they want to move it forward aggressively.
Yeah, I was going to make a recommendation on that, similar to what we've done on a couple of other things.
Yeah.
That to really, eliminate some of the stuff that we don't need to address and just get to the heart of it. So that's the only things that we're really talking about at the meeting. So, Azu, what I'll do is when I'm able to get back to work, I will coordinate that, and I'll have our clerk reach out to you. The new clerk, her name is Victoria D'Antoni, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
She just started today. The poor girl, this is her first meeting. Hopefully she's still with us tomorrow. She hasn't run away.
Hello, Victoria. How are you?
So at the end of the day, we'll reach out to you. We'll see if we can't set up a multi-person phone call to really get to the heart of this, and we'll move forward. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for Zero Chase Road, Freetown Solar Array number 2, I think it was said, to December 14th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. No further discussion. Roll call vote. All in favor. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Keith Mello.
Aye.
Kevin Damaris, aye. Passes unanimously. It's been continued to the 14th. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, Adam, I think we're done with you. If you'd like, reach out to me tomorrow, Adam. Maybe we can make some dates. Hopefully I'll get my results back and be back at work. And what was on the agenda, but it's what I want you guys to look at. I think Mike has sent them out. If not, I'll have Victoria send them out tomorrow. We have the job descriptions for what we're calling the gatekeeper. This is somebody who's going to be responsible for mainly for Porter Pasture and some other Conservation Commission owned properties, opening the gate, closing the gate, making sure it's clean, typically during the summer months. And then an open space consultant, and we don't have to call it that. The Conservation Commission has the ability to appoint staff, paid and or unpaid. And I'm looking for a way, quite honestly. Mike has been doing a lot of work for Concom, And through the forestry program and getting grants and doing deed research and that kind of stuff. And I'd like to be able to keep him in the loop. He's a good asset, but we're not going to be able to pay him. So if we create some sort of position like this, we could just get him appointed and he can continue at least in that vein working for us, albeit unpaid. So just take a look at those things. And on the 14th, be ready to give me any kind of comment if need be.
Okay, fine.
Thank you again, everybody, for your patience. I know it's kind of been difficult. I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving and everybody was safe. So if there's nothing else to add, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
We need to approve the minutes for the past few.
You know what? You're right, Charlie. I apologize.
No problem.
I hand wrote out the agenda and I neglected to put that on it. So
I understand.
if you have a
I'll make
motion,
that
go
motion.
ahead. And just for the record, Charlie, what are the dates on those?
Oh, geez, you kind of make me do that, aren't you?
No. Are they on our agenda? Hold on, I can pull it up.
No, they're not on the agenda, but they're on an email.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody has the email in front of them. I'll try to retrieve it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do it on my phone. Victoria, do you have an ability to pull up that email? I don't even know if she just got the computer today. I don't even know if Tim was able to set it up for her, so I might be asking her to do an awful lot.
Okay, hold on one minute.
Yeah, Chris, is she shaking her head no, like she has no idea?
I'm looking to.
Oh, thanks, Keith.
Well, I'll race you, Keith. Let's see what happens.
Ready, go. All right. If there's anybody, Chris, is there anybody left on besides us?
Yeah, a Sarge.
Hey, who?
ASARG. It's just the name. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, they left.
Oh. Okay. Oh, all I was going to say was that as soon as we get this motion, we're going to adjourn the meeting so nobody had to stick around for it because there's nothing earth shattering.
Hey,
Oh,
I should have had it, but I don't have a computer at home. I just have my iPad and I don't have my email on there. Any idea when it was sent? I guess not. Mail.
do you guys know what meeting?
Yeah.
Or like what the last one approved was?
I see
Victoria.
1019
Okay.
and 11:9.
Oh, we got it.
yeah.
We got it. So for 10/19 and 11/9.
That's what I see. 1019 and
All right.
11:9.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
I hope that's right. I think that's right.
I entertain a-
Add, how about if I add to it in any other minutes unapproved?
Yeah. All right. So I'll entertain that motion.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Excellent.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion made, supported. Roll call. Charlie Sullivan,
Aye.
Keith Mello,
Aye.
Kevin Damaris. Aye. Minutes are approved. All right. Motion to adjourn, man.
So made.
Second that.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. This Zoom stuff is really gotta go. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll
Aye.
call. Okay. Charlie Sullivan, Keith Mello, both said aye. Kevin says aye. Gentlemen, thank you again. Have a safe night.
All right.
And
Best of luck,
we'll
Kevin.
talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Yep.
see you guys.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good.